I've been thinking a lot about solidarity lately, and it's not just because this weekend is Solidarity Sunday, the day set aside every year by the Canadian bishops for the Canada-wide Collection for Development and Peace, Caritas Canada. It's also because of what's been going on around the world. There are so many calls for and invitations to be in solidarity with members of our human family right now. It feels like we are being drawn towards a kind of vortex of solidarity. There are the people of Ukraine suffering from invasion, war, and displacement. There are the Inuit, Métis, and First Nations peoples of this land, those who met with Pope Francis at the Vatican this week, and those who watch from home. There are the human rights and land defenders in the global south who, as we've learned from Development and Peace, are criminalized for speaking out against the harm being done by foreign companies, many of them Canadian, seeking their natural resources for profit. And that does not take into account solidarity with the entire church as we go through the synodal process, and with the earth itself and all the visible and invisible creatures with whom we share our common home. How do we even begin to process all these calls to be in solidarity, let alone respond? Fortunately, we have Jesus to show us the way, thanks to the gospel writers. When I was listening to last Sunday's readings and Father Jim's homily, it struck me that the gospel about Jesus restoring the sight of the man born blind was a very fitting lead-up to Solidarity Sunday, because it describes, in a way, a stepping stone, a first step on the road towards solidarity. Father Jim said that Jesus' message was about each of us seeing in a new way. He said that through our Lenten prayers and sacrifices, we can transcend our blindness so that we are able to look into the hearts of others and love them as brothers and sisters. This is the intellectual part of the journey towards solidarity, where we see others as the same as us. A first but necessary step. Seeing others as brothers and sisters and witnessing their pain and struggles is one thing, but until we make it our own too, are we in solidarity? I think what it comes down to is an emotional response. When our hearts are cracked open and we move from knowing something in our head to feeling something in our hearts, whether that's shock, sorrow, guilt, sadness, pain, compassion, even outrage. And that feeling prompts us to act. In this weekend's gospel, the journey towards solidarity does move from the head to the heart. We see Jesus actually go through this process himself. When he learns about Lazarus' death, he is not in Bethany where Lazarus, Martha, and Mary live, but in another place, as John describes it. Despite his disciples' urging, he decides to stay where he is for another couple of days before heading to Bethany. I assume Jesus, as the Son of God, knew in his mind what was going to happen, so there was no need to rush. I wonder, though, if he was fully aware of the effect that witnessing the grief of Martha and Mary and all their friends over Lazarus' death would have on him, and coming face to face with the reality of the tomb, which he would know only too well was in his own future. We are told that Jesus was greatly disturbed in spirit and deeply moved. At the tomb, he was moved to tears. He was overcome with a completely human reaction at that time, and I wonder if that caught him off guard. During those moments, he was fully, humanly in solidarity with his grieving sisters and brothers. And what was the result? It compelled him to action. He ordered that the rock be removed from the entrance to the tomb immediately so that he could fulfill his mission. And that's how it happens sometimes. You are unexpectedly moved by something and are compelled to act. You hear stories like this in the news all the time of people who've done extraordinary things, saying that they had never done anything like this before, but they felt they had to do something. You never really know what will resonate with you, as we are all different with our own histories that influence how we hear, see, process, and react. Throughout Lent every year, Development and Peace uses a variety of tools to share and sensitize Canadian Catholics to the lives and struggles of some of the peoples of the Global South and the community groups and organizations that Development and Peace partners with your financial support. While we also do this during the Education and Action Campaign in the fall, over the 6 weeks of Lent, with support from our bishops and pastors, we have a sustained 6-week period to share the stories of our partners in a bit more detail. We do this using videos, inserts in the bulletin, the Solidarity Calendar, our mini magazine, the Solidarity Way of the Cross, as well as the symbols of solidarity, which will be included in the Masses this weekend. This Lent, the focus has been on the people and our partner groups in Honduras, Madagascar, and Cambodia. We've heard about the ecological village in Madagascar, the community fishing projects in Cambodia, and the defenders of the land, the environment, and human rights in Honduras. Development and Peace hopes that by getting to know the stories, people, partners, and their challenges, that your heart will be opened and you will want to show your own solidarity in a personal way. Development and Peace touched my own heart over 20 years ago, and next to St. Joe's, it is where I feel most called to offer my time, talent, and treasure. It's never easy to ask anyone for money, but if you feel compelled to act and support the work of Development and Peace and our partners in the Global South, envelopes are available in the pews to make it easy for you, or you can donate online at the Development and Peace website, devp.org. If you use an envelope, you can leave it in the offering desk after Mass or bring them to Mass next weekend. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for your generosity and your solidarity.